recent days, Israel-Palestine conflict is trending worldwide. But what is the issue and how this issue is taking lives of thousands, including many children? To understand Israel-Palestine conflict, we have to firstly understand how did Israel came to its existence. Because Israel-Palestine conflict started when Israel came to its shape in 1948.
History of world.
If we look into the history, we will get to know that from the beginning, Jews had gotten hate throughout the world. They were never accepted in any kingdom. Main reason for this hate was that there were many rumors against Jews. Most common rumor was that they set at the killed Christian children and drank their blood, etc. Jews were always oppressed. For example, in 1099, when Crusaders captured Jerusalem, they massacred the entire Jewish population living in Jerusalem. In 1290, King Edward I expelled all Jews from England and was swiftly followed by France in 1306, Switzerland in 1348, and Germany in 1395. By the 1800s, Jews started to believe that no country would accept them and they would have to create their own Jewish country. In 1896, a man by the name of Theodor Herzl, who was an Austro-Hungarian Jewish journalist, wrote a political pamphlet in which he started a political movement called Zionism. But Theodor is not the first person to talk about Zionism. In 1870s, many organizations who refer themselves Lions of Zion were spreading the idea of Zionism to the world. Due to this, in 1881, many Jews started to travel to Palestine. Zionism was a political movement whose main goal was to create a Jewish state in Palestine, which was the ancient homeland of Jews. During this time, Palestine, which was under the control of Ottoman Empire, during late 1800s, Jews who had migrated from Europe and native Muslims and Christians were living in peace in Palestine. There were no conflict between them, because most of Palestine was empty at that time. When World War I happened in 1914, Ottoman Empire, who were very close friends with Germany, decided to wage a war against Germany enemies, British Empire and France, as well as Russia. The British Empire, who had Egypt, neighbours of Ottoman Empire, under their control, wanted to knock out Ottoman Empire from World War I as soon as possible. To achieve this, they knew that if they captured Palestine area, Ottoman Empire will get weak and they will be knocked out of the war, so they developed a cunning plan. At that time, the Arabs living under Ottoman Empire wanted to their own country, United Arab States, which ranged from modern-day Syria to Yemen. As during early 1900s, nationalism ideology was at peak. So British go to Arabs and tell them if they attack Ottoman Empire, British would give them their country, which also included Palestine area. At the same time, they go to Jews who also wanted Palestine area and told them they would give them Palestine area if they help us fighting against Ottomans. This agreement was called Balfour Declaration, but in reality they have done the deal with France that after Ottoman Empire will fall, they both will rule Ottoman Empire's areas. World War I ended in 1919. Ottoman Empire, who had suffered many defeats during World War I, was broken into many parts in which the area of Palestine fell into hands of British. During 1920, large number of Jews started to immigrating from Europe to Palestine. By 1934, there were 177,000 Jews immigrants living in Palestine, which was 17% of Palestine population. If we compare it to 1914, there were only 8% of Jews present at that time. Sudden increase of Jews coming to Palestine led to tensions between the native Arabs and Jews. In April 1936, Arabs started a revolt against British Empire. Arabs wanted independent Palestine from both British and Jews. This revolt continued for 3 years, but British crushed this revolt in 1939 with help of violence. By the second half of 1939, Britain had 30,000 troops in Palestine. Villages were bombed from air, curfews were imposed, homes were demolished, and mass killing widespread, and that's how they crushed this revolt. 3 years of revolt, 5,000 Palestinians were killed. 15 to 20,000 were wounded, and 5,600 were imprisoned. But British did not want it to become enemies of Arabs living in Palestine, so British Empire issued a white paper in 1939 that limited Jewish immigration into Palestine and called for the establishment of a joint Jewish-Arab state in Palestine within 10 years. And World War II happened in 1939, and world saw a tragic event, quote, Holocaust, happened in which 6 million Jews were killed by the hands of Hitler Nazi army. Many Jews who left behind everything in Europe wanted to immigrate to Palestine, but Britain, honouring the White Paper, did not allow them to enter Palestine. Instead, they were moved to Cyprus. In this, many Jews organisations living in Palestine were pissed off, and they started to revolt and started to attack British Army. British Army started to suffer many casualties due to well-coordinated attack by Jews organisations. At the end of World War II, British were exhausted and they were losing many of their army personnel in both World War II and Palestine, so they decided to leave Palestine and handed the problem of Palestine to newly formed United Nations in 1947. United Nations proposed a plan in the 29th of November 1947. According to this plan, Jews will get 55% of the area. Arabs Palestinians would get 44%. Al-Jerusalem, which was the significant city for both Muslims and Jews as well as Christians, would be under the international control. Jews accepted this plan, but the Palestinians rejected the plan because it allotted about 55% of Palestine to the Jewish state, including most of the fertile coastal region, while the Palestinians were a majority of population. However, in November 1947, the United Nations passed this plan, with majority from world leaders. By 14 May 1948, Jews established their own Jewish state called Israel, and that's how Israel came to its existence.